Alright, aha, plug 2 media. Make sure say over like over comment it. Now I share my videos ni a day among in some so over your my Ghana. And now me be ever domo. Na yanka say any to say adichibia ye say and some for ewa. Now another day you bought a room the nature say a NDC akachi and I bought a pinchy ho a day in Semba Kumi no be abetuja. Ni na efa a year some interview via a year. National chairman for NDC Amayekun Aseidu Nketia a grantee. Now or the insemi etuja HSM. A year 2025 year just a year has said ye a year John Jomani Mahama Washa was share Ghana for said your obesity accomplishes are in some. A year NDC fully being so now April a year 2028. The obe lady a year fagbearer now utmi who say Aseidu Nketia a victim ewo bi a chese enya asem ketwa na right now no a DB astarte a chese pop up chese okujeto ablakwa ehemu bi ato forcing ewo mu bi jubilees dabra ehemu bi ye maami na je enso edi ewo mu bi a chese edi awodo na chese omo astarte a ebobo ba se omo and 2028 omo be contesting for NDC flag bearer. So ansem we na Aseidu HSA ebeya omo relax it's say ofempo na 2025 kwa yemrem na mo start say adwen eye nipa obeye flag bearer yenko na yenkotie ensem ne bi ema.
Johnson Aseidu Nketia, the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Keselato Forsen, the finance minister who has brought the dollar to its lowest, Ama Kofi Boa, the Minister for Lands, who is fighting Galamsey with all his life, the Venerable Vice President, Professor Jenano Pokwajiman, and the Chief of Staff of the Vice President, Mr. Alexander Segwefia, formerly of Achimota School and also known as Allegro. These are the crackers. These are the guys, the main people. So why are we talking about them? We are talking about them because President John Dramani Mahama yesterday celebrated or spent out his first 120 days. In terms of running as president for the next 4 years, this is the major epochal situation that President Mahama will never have the opportunity to get again. So it's gone. So as soon as that goes away, then the undertones begin for the new one. In fact, in 2005, this event I'm talking to you about was 6th January 2005. And I was standing on the forecourt of the State House as members of parliament were coming in to be sworn in. And then I walked to meet the Venerable Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was the immediate past foreign minister and expecting to be foreign minister again. And then during my interview with him, as he was walking up, this was live on the City. We had just started City. This was live on City. I asked him that tomorrow, President Kufuor will be sworn in for a second and final term. All eyes of the party are going to be on you as the next leader. What do you have to say about this? Now, in previous interviews that I had, or conversations I had with Akufo-Addo, he never wanted to deal with that question throughout the period of 2003, 2004, before the election. He never wanted to deal with that question. So I was expecting the same answer from him. And then he said, well, tomorrow we have the glorious swearing in of that very distinguished Ghanaian, our president, John Agyekum Kufuor, and that will be his last and final term. We have to give him space to name his government and all of that. But he said this to me, after President Kufuor has settled down, I'm sure that everyone knows that when the party opens the nomination, I, Akufo-Addo, I'll be a candidate again. I remember that clearly. He said, I, Akufo-Addo, I'll be a candidate again. And then we sent the City FM, use the story and use the story and use the story. That meant something to me. He said, he had always ignored that question, but this is 6th January 2005. The next day was a swearing in of the president, and Parliament was coming in to be sworn in. So he had won his seat again. He was coming in to be sworn in. And I teased him. I thought he was going to push my microphone away and say, get out of this, your question. Because that has been his reaction when I asked him the question. But this time, he said that, well, President Kufuor will be sworn in for the last and final term. After that, we need to give him time to settle his government and to set out. But the time that the party opens the nomination, I, Akufo-Addo, I'll be a candidate again. And the story was used. Akufo-Addo declares his intention. So the intentions are kept in people's mind. But as soon as you finish that epochal situation, naming your government, 120 days, the undertones begin. And having the undertones began, they have begun. Pa. Johnson Aseidu Nketia is in a commanding lead and he's in pole position to win. Johnson Aseidu Nketia is in a pole position to win. Now, Johnson Aseidu Nketia doesn't feel that he should be challenged. No, he doesn't. But this is how government works. You see, when ministers are working, they are working at the behest of the president. Every now and then, they are allowed to act in a capacity that is originally reserved for the president. So the president calls finance minister. Kesel Atufosin, come to the Jubilee House to see. Say, Kesel, next week I have to be with the cocoa farmers. But the World Bank has invited me to be in Washington to chair this event of World Bank Advisory Committee. Can you represent me on that one? So he goes to Washington representing the president. That happens to ministers, different kinds of ministers at different times. So once you're a minister and you get into that situation, it's always going to cross your mind. Do you have a money boama here? Oh, you don't have a money boama here. Okay. It's always going to cross your mind that, I said a money boama is a dark horse. So you keep him, I'll call for it. It's always going to cross your mind that, what about the presidency? Just maybe. What about the vice presidency? Just maybe. So Kesel Atufosin and his friends have already started talking to him that, listen, Ato, if you're able to become a very successful finance minister, the whole NDC campaign hinges on the success that you have achieved in the stability of the economy and in the stability of the dollar. No one is going to be more popular than you, Kesel Atufosin. So if that happens and you can enter the race, you beat Aseidu Nketia. After all, Aseidu Nketia is only party chairman. He has nothing to show about what he himself has done with the success of the government. He's party chairman. So the whole government success is a success. But you, Atufosin, you are the minister responsible for finance and economic planning. If economic planning and finance goes well, it is you. You are going to be reading the budget. You are going to be the star of every budget. Every budget is going to be the most important thing in parliament, more important than the sessional address. So, Ato, if you do your work well, you can lead the NDC onto a resounding victory. After all, Osafo Mafu went for the primaries. He nearly won. So, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? And many people also believe that if Kojo Banredu had not died in 2008, maybe in 2012, he would have given Akufo-Addo a run for his money. Because everyone remembered Kojo Banredu as a good finance minister, blah, blah, blah. But then he died. So finance ministry is an important place where you can gain the platform to lead the party. As a result of that, viewers, our brother Kesel Atufosin has started thinking about it. And I'm serious. I know what I'm talking about. He's thinking about it. There are people who have been given schedules to work for him. Our brother Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa is coming from the Western region. The Western region have never really had leadership of any political party, whether the NDC or the NPP. You can talk of Peter McMenu, who was chairman of Western region, but McMenu is really an Ashanti product. Just that he did his business in Western region. Proper Western region, Jogate people, proper Western region has never really led the party of MPP and of NDC. NDC have benefited significantly from votes in the Western region since the Rawlings time up to election 2024. Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, if he is successful at Lance, he's the Western show boy, he's the Western star. If he projects himself as the Western region star and secures the support of the West and Central region, he is getting close to giving Aseidu Nketia a fight for a run for his money. So Amakofi-Boa is also running. The vice president is being told by everyone that whether NDC can win the next election or not, a huge chunk does not depend on MPP. It depends on how the NDC is successful in government. If the NDC is successful in government and the president who is successful as the NDC president cannot run again, then the president's principal partner for this successful NDC government is the vice president. Why are you looking for a candidate outside the vice president if you want the NDC to get a straight two-term? It is the vice president. She's the candidate. So Professor Jenano Pokwajiman is also being thought about as a potential. And then you have Alexander Segbefia, who has been thinking about this for quite a bit. The Volta region. They have given NDC everything. The Volta region has given NDC their spirit, their soul, their food, their clothing, their tears, their laughter, their dancing, their bobobo, their geometry, their environment, their forest. Volta region has delivered to NDC everything that it has. Nothing left. But until now, no, since Rawlings, you cannot really call Rawlings a Voltarian in that context. Yes, his mother is Voltarian, but Rawlings is a Ga or an Obroni, half caste or something like that. So Rawlings is there. Kojochi Kata is there. But in terms of a Voltarian, qua Voltarian, leading the NDC, it hasn't happened. Alexander Segbefia and his supporters fancy him as being the one to break that jinx. Hey, it's been a while since we heard break the 8. Like the way we have not heard 24-hour economy. It's the Pudong guy. I'll come back to him during the campaign. I'll come back to him. Don't worry, I'll come back to him. Now Black Rasta is taking over, but he's there. Pudong, I'll come back to him. 24-hour economy, we haven't heard it. Alexander Segbefia is the one to break the jinx, to get the Volta region in pole position. So much to the frustration of Johnson Aseidu Nketia, it's not going to be a walk in the park for him.